What's the most important lesson I've learned in 30 plus years? If you don't want to waste the next 30 years of your life figuring this out, make sure you stick to the end of this video. To illustrate my point, I'm going to tell you 3 stories. So let's get into it. Now for the first story, when I was younger, my parents sent me to boarding school. And my dad believed that because I was in boarding school, I should get a lot of pocket money because I wasn't at home, I wasn't eating my parents' food, I wasn't living in my parents' house. And so I was getting a lot of pocket money. Now my brother, on the other hand, was going to a posh school near the house, and then my parents were dropping him off in school. And my dad believed that a child who goes to school from home does not need any pocket money because he's eating at home and he's basically being dropped off at school. So what does he need money for? So he wasn't giving my brother any money. My mom was giving my brother some money, but he wasn't getting as much money as me. Now he thought that was very unfair, and he made sure he let me know. He went on and on and on about how my dad was being discriminatory, my dad was being biased, my dad was showing me preferential treatment, this was favoritism, blah, 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 blah. My brother just went on and on, and I began to feel really bad about it. And so I started to give him some of my money before I would go to school. Now, each session of my school would be about 3 months. I'd be away from home for about 3-4 months. So before I would leave, after my dad gave me my money, I would give my brother some money. And no matter what I did, when I came back home, my brother would still go on and on about how, oh my God, you're getting so much money, it's so unfair. And then I'd give him some more money. Finally, I decided, you know what, maybe if I give him more money than I take to school, maybe he'll finally be satisfied and just stop guilt tripping me. And so I gave him about 60% of the money. And when I went to school, oh my God, I suffered. It was so hard for me because I didn't have money to do anything. I didn't have money to buy anything. By the time I got back home that semester, I was so skinny because I had no money. And wouldn't you believe it, my brother still, after I almost died for him, he still went on and on about how I was getting more money than him. And I decided, you know what? Oh my God. I could die of hunger and this guy would still complain. So you know what? I'm going to keep my money from now on. If he's going to complain no matter what I do, then I might as well keep my money. That's exactly what I did. Now that's story number 1. And the second story, so there was this guy that my friend connected me to and suggested that I should go out with him. So I knew right off the bat that he wasn't my type, that we're not going to be able to work. But he spent about 2 years asking me to be his girlfriend, and I kept saying no. And then my friend says, oh Jola, you've been single for a while and I think maybe your standards are too high. You need to lower your standards. And I know she's probably watching this and feeling bad, and she wants me to let it go and stop telling everybody that she told me to lower my standards and it didn't end well, but I'm sorry. It's such a good story. I just have to tell it. So anyway, I listened to my friend and I lowered my standards. And I said, you know what? Let me give it a shot. I mean, after all, the guy worships me. What's the worst that could happen? Famous last words. And so I started to date the guy. Now, you would think that somebody who has spent 2 years asking me to be his girlfriend would treat me like the best thing since sliced bread. But no, he did not. And it got to a point where, like, I would go visit him. He'd leave me in his house and say he's going to play games with his neighbor. He's going to play video games with his neighbor. Now, obviously, he was playing a different kind of game, but, you know, I just wait for him to come back whenever. And it became so bad. I remember one time we visited his cousin, and then he told me, oh, can't I see how light-skinned his cousin is? And that I need to bleach my skin so I can look like his cousin. I kid you not. Then he told me that when he marries me, because he was so sure of himself, he was so sure I was going to marry him. He said that when we get married, that I have to get breast augmentation. I'm like, look, why didn't you just date somebody who was a light-skinned and had a D cup? You saw me 100% how I was, and you asked me out for almost 2 years. And this went on. And because, I mean, if you're a woman, you know how hard it is. Once we're in a relationship, well, I don't know, maybe some of you have Superman strength, and then you decide that you're done, and then you're just done. But for most of us, it takes some time, you know, for a guy to reach his tipping point, and you're just like, yeah, I'm not going to do this anymore. And so for me, that final straw came when he was going away for a while, and I decided I was going to give him a pendant my grandma gave me. And I was gonna, give it to him with a chain just for him to keep me. I said, keep me close to your heart while you're away. And then he went to tell his sister, who told me, this is why I should be close to, well, maybe not. He went to tell his sister, who told me that I gave him a dog chain to mark him as mine, so that no girl would come near him. Now, I found that so hurtful. And as if that wasn't bad enough, he misplaced the pendant my grandma gave me. And that was just the end of that relationship. That's story number 2. Now for the final story, a friend of mine who constantly used to complain that I was too closed off. I never used to tell her anything about myself. I was always shutting people out, blah, 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 blah. I mean, as much as I'm an introvert and I'm very discreet about my life, because I feel like maybe this is something that I eventually need to get therapy for, but I feel like a lot of people just want information about your life. Some people because they just want to feel like they're better than you, and they just need somebody to share bad news with them. So that's, I don't know, whatever. But I'm very discreet about my life. I feel like what people don't know, they cannot use against you. And I only share what I feel needs to be shared. But I also believe that relationships are about compromise, and you need to compromise for the people that you love. And so when this friend kept going on and on and on about how I'm too closed off, I'm too shut off, I never share anything, I never this, that, I decided, you know what, okay, let me be open. And then I started to share a lot more. I remember the one thing that I was really vulnerable about. I remember this guy that I liked who didn't like me back, and he posted the picture of somebody he did like on social media, and I felt so bad. And I didn't just feel bad about him posting, I felt bad about him posting, because I'm like, this is stupid. I shouldn't care about this. And then that was a very vulnerable thing for me to share, because ordinarily I wouldn't share that, because I just felt it made me look stupid. And so I wouldn't share that kind of thing. I just get over it. But I shared with her because I'm like, okay, well, this is an opportunity for me to benefit from talking to somebody. And then not long after, we're having an innocent conversation. Out of nowhere, like the conversation just went from like 0 to 100. And she starts telling me, oh, you're too shut off. This is why I don't like you. I don't want to be a friend anymore. I need to get better friends, because you never let people help you. You never open up to anybody. And I'm like, huh? But I just literally told you something that I was afraid would make me look stupid, but I told you anyway because I was being open with you and I was trying to be more vulnerable with you. So I thought we had crossed this bridge already. Now I was very confused and I was very hurt, obviously, because I mean, like, what's the meaning of I don't want to be your friend anymore? That was so like, I need to get myself better friends. So I'm like a bad friendship choice. And so I had a conversation with a mutual friend of ours, and she said something that just stuck with me. She said, Jola, this person is determined to see you in a certain way. She has created a narrative of who you are in her mind, and no matter what you do, you cannot change what she thinks of you. You can never, ever, ever change her opinion of you. And so, like, just stop trying. And I was like, oh my God. So what's the whole point? What is the lesson that has taken me 30 plus years to learn? It's that you have to be okay with disappointing people. You have to be okay with disappointing people, because you could literally die and some people will not be happy. I mean, look at my brother's story. I love him with all my heart, but like, I suffered because I was trying to please him and he was still not happy. Look at the second story. I was trying to please my friend by accepting the guy she recommended to me, and I suffered. I mean, imagine somebody telling you that you're ugly and you're dark and your boobs are small, so you should get breast augmentation, you should lighten your skin. Can you imagine that? All because I decided to, let me please my friend and lower my standards, and that's the mess I get. And then finally, the friend who I opened up to, who was still not satisfied. I'm not sure how much more open I could have been. So the lesson that has taken me 30 plus years to learn is you cannot satisfy people. You can't. Some people can just not be satisfied, and people pleasing will get you in trouble. Not saying you should be selfish, but prioritize your own needs and stick to your guns and be okay with disappointing people. Okay.